Hi, this is Denise Mathew, and today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to do a viewer suggested tutorial. I'm always looking for ideas on some new tutorials to do, and it's always nice when somebody sends me a picture or something like that. So they sent me this picture of these type earrings. It's very similar. There's a briolet in the center, and then you have seed pearls and then tourmaline on the outside. You can always change it up, use all crystals if you like. Want to use a bigger briolet, you could do that. I can't say I'll be able to do every picture that I'm sent because some are too complicated, but these seem to be fairly easy. I believe they came out pretty nice. So let's get started. I'm working with an 8 by 8 millimeter briolet. You can use a bigger or smaller, it's up to you, whatever you have on hand. But you'll just have to judge the amount of beads you're going to use after accordingly. So I'm just going to make just a wrapped loop. And I'm going to make it kind of small. I don't want it too big. So just start with a regular loop and just wrap it in. So now that that's made, I'm working with about 3/4 of a foot of 24 gauge wire, and you can adjust that according to the size of your bead. So I've just made a wrapped loop, and I'm just going to put it on, and then one side I'm just going to flip it up like that so that I have it like that, and then I'm just going to do the exact same thing on the other side. Just a plain wrapped loop. And try and keep them consistent so that the loops are about the same. So they are. Grab hold of that loop and then just wrap at the base. You don't have to wrap many times, just really to close it. So now I'm going to keep the loops out to the side like this. So this is how it looks so far. I'm working with about a foot of a 26 gauge wire, and you can use this more or less according to the size beads you're using. So just another loop, just a wrap loop I'm going to start with now. And again, try and keep it smaller, and just close that up. Now that you have that wrapped loop made on one side, is just put it right through and put it from the inside through. And when you're making your loop, you want to make sure it's bigger than this loop slightly. It doesn't have to be much bigger, just slightly, so that it doesn't pull through. And now that that's through, then I'm going to string on my 1 millimeter seed pearls. You can use any type of seed bead you want to use. It doesn't really make a difference. You're going to use different amounts of these kind of beads based on what size your briolet is. So there's not one hard and fast rule for how many beads you're going to use. And you can just check occasionally, see how close you're getting to. We basically want to hug that briolet. That's the intention. This is what we have so far. Let's see. Alright, not quite, but getting there. So continue to add a couple more. I have a 11 now. Let's see if it's correct. So that's looks about right. Now, once you put you're going to take your wire and you're just going to put it through the left loop only. And you're going to be able to tell if it actually is correct or not once you put it through. And that will be sort of the real test. What you want to do with this other loop is just kind of bend it out to this top loop of the pearls that you just made. Just bend it out to the side like that, so that it's sort of out of your way, and it's going to sort of it will also support your briolets as well. So I'm looking here and I see that it actually is, I think, perfect. So right now I'm just going to do a wrap loop again, and that's going to stabilize everything. So this is what we have. I'll just do another wrap loop. And try and keep them consistent. Just keep saying it, but this is one project that's important to try and really keep your loops consistent. About the same size. Okay, there. I can trim that back. So this is what you have. Now when you make this next wrap loop, you're going to leave it open until you add some chain. So again, keep it consistent, not too big. And I'm going to have these small lengths of chain. I've counted the lengths, so they're both exactly 5 lengths. I prefer to count the lengths when I'm using small amounts of chain because it will keep it really consistent. So you can also do measured if you prefer, but again, I find that counting the lengths is it'll always give you exactly the same results. So you're going to do a wrap loop once you put that chain on. So just a wrap loop. You just slide that right through the inside again. Your beads. So that's what you would have like that. Now you're going to start putting on your tourmaline beads or whatever you want, whatever you're using. I'm using a 4mm tourmaline bead. I think there are a few peridot mixed in as well. You can use whatever size will match. I'm not going to be very careful about what colors I'm using. I'm just going to use an assortment of colors because I think they all sort of mix together nicely. So it's exactly the same as what we did with the pearls, just stringing them on the wire. So you just do the exact same thing. You're just going to put the wire right through the left loop and try and pull it tight. Now if you notice, it's too many beads because it doesn't, once I pulled it through the loop, it will not tighten up, so that means I need to take some off. Put the wire through again and see how that works out. You want to have all the beads tucked nicely against each different layer, and that seems to be the way it is. Now you're going to do another wrap loop on the other side. And just like you did with the first side, you're going to add a length of chain. Then just close that loop. Trim back the excess. You're going to want to connect those two chains. So just another plain wrap loop. And then just string on the two top links of your chain. So that's what you would have. Remember to just close that loop up. Now here you can add a bead of your choice. Now you could add any kind of a spacer bead. You could add well, I'm just going to add a pearl, but if you wanted to add another tourmaline, you could do that as well. It's really your choice, but I'm just going to add another pearl. And then just close that loop. One last loop. And this loop, just make sure that when you're making it, it's big enough so that your ear wire will fit through, whatever kind of ear wire you're using. Just close that up, trim it back. In the image that I got for the picture, there were wires that were attached to in between the pearls and the tourmalines, and I think it really was left just. I think the point of it was to sort of hold all the beads together. So I will add one. They added three. I'm just going to add one because I find it didn't work really well for me. So maybe there's a special technique, but this is what I came up with. I just did a little loop on the top and just another very similar size loop on the bottom, so something like a little figure eight, and then just trim that back at the top so that you have a little figure eight like that. Now just open up one of those loops, ideally the smaller one. If you've made a smaller one, if they're consistently the same size, that's fine. It doesn't matter, whichever loop you prefer. So just take one loop, and then just what you want to do is slide it in the middle of those pearls. So the middle of, you would just count. If you don't have an equal amount, just try and get as close to the center as possible. So then when you have that loop in there, you just want to close it up. So half of your figure eight is in, and then the other side, you're just going to do the exact same thing. Just open up your figure eight, and then just put that around wherever you can find the middle for the tourmalines. So just slide it between the beads, exactly the same as you did in the other one. It may take a little work to do that, but just work with it. And then once that's through, this is not essential. If you prefer not to do it, if you find it too much of a pain, don't worry about it. I don't think it's really that essential, but I just thought I would just do it because it was on the template I was given, or the image I was given. So then you would have something that looks like that. And I think the whole point of it is just to keep everything sort of lined up. And the last thing you want to do is just put on an ear wire. And just when you are putting on your ear wire, you want to make sure your loop is in the front so that you have your earrings that are going to hang like this. If it's not in the correct spot, if it's not correct, then just give it a little twist. Not much, but just a little bit, just to get it in the center. So then you would have something that looks like that. So this concludes the tutorial. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye for now.